We did the original Lunder Wing in 1999 explicitly to have a didactic relationship to the art collection. And we felt that the collection going into that wing should feel at home, literally. And so we imagined the building as this almost house-like pavilion as the work of that era was shown in domestic spaces. When it came time to do the Alfond-Lunder Pavilion, the notion of the building as something which would dissolve into its setting began to come into play. Eventually, we realized that the building, although it's bigger than the other additions, could actually almost disappear into its environment, but through its reflections. And then the ideas began to build up onto each other and layer. A lot of the art in the Colby Museum collection is from the late 19th, early 20th century, and it was a time when American artists were exploring the environment. The plein air painting, it's a great tradition in Maine and in American art of that era, and the reflection of the sky, of the trees, which is very dynamic here in Maine, almost became as important as the architectural setting. But also the building reflects its own architectural environment. So we talk about the building as actually being about seeing. It's about seeing its setting and its environment, and that you have to look at it over and over again, because every time of day, every season, the building presents a new image. And we think for a college and an art department where people are studying art, they're studying looking, that this kind of a highly interactive, dynamic building image was actually more important than something more finite and singular. Our philosophy of museum design is that of creating a background for the art rather than as an art object in and of itself. On this facade, there's a large blank wall behind the stairs, and there's the glass surface itself, and on the opposite side there's another large blank wall behind the stair. And from the very beginning of the design, we saw these as canvases to select and put works of art of medium to long term, and so that when you look at the building, you would really immediately begin to look at art. And so on one side, Sharon shows the spectacular Saul LeWitt wall drawing, which I think will become an immediate symbol for the building and for the museum on campus. I'm standing just inside the doors of the largest gallery in the new Alfond-Lunder Family Pavilion. And it's connected to a large daylit flexible space, which is partly a lobby, partly a gallery, partly an event space, which has a lot of daylight coming in from two sides. And one of the first things that I think strikes you is that this is not a pure rectangle. The size of the space is actually enhanced by the forced perspective of the angle looking down this corner. So I also like to be able to capture a glimpse of the whole scope of the space when you first enter. So as you walk in the doors here, you really see the scope of the gallery. You can begin to see the sequence of the subdivisions of the space, and in a way know where you're going and what you have to look forward to as you go through the space. Alfond-Lunder Family Pavilion is a multifunctional building. Even though it's monolithic and simple on the outside, it's complex and multifunctional on the inside. On this level, the third floor, there are studios and a gallery space, which is basically a corridor, but it has double use as a gallery. And the space that I'm sitting in is a lounge crit discussion space. And then the walls behind are covered in felt, and they're meant to be pinned up spaces so that the faculty and the students can pin up work and talk about it in this space. And the furniture was chosen to be very comfortable. It's meant to be a hangout space, a study space, and a casual gathering space for not just the arts department students, but all the students on campus.